So a video has gone viral of a young man experiencing Jesus and his dead father. Here's my thought on it. Hey guys, it's John sitting here in my studio on a gray day outside, but a nice cool day. And I'm kind of enjoying the beautiful temperature that's outside. You know, I was sitting at home here the other day and my sister sent me a video of a young boy who was having a divine experience. And I'm not going to show clips of it in this video, but I'll have the link of the video down below here. And I think you should go watch it because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful video. What this young boy is going through. But I want to talk about what he's going through because Christians worldwide have taken this as proof of their faith. And rightfully so. They're talking about Jesus, right? But I'd like to talk about what the boy is actually going through. First of all, he's in a drug-induced state. He's out of his present conscious connection to this world. He's in a different state of awareness. I love that they put this video out because it actually validates my own beliefs. You know, I often talk about the young girl who in India who had two near-death experiences. In the first near-death experience, Jesus came and saved her. And in the second near-death experience, Shiva came and saved her. And the only difference was she was a Christian during her first one, she was a Hindu during her second one. So it comes, you know, this concept of belief. Now, in the Bible, it talks about the idea of ye must be born again, or you must become as a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. And what that means, in my opinion, is that go back before you had life experiences, before you've been told what to believe, before you had belief. Go back to that blank slate and clear the mind of all of those things that define your reality. Now, this video, I loved watching it because you could see the genuine reactions of him seeing Jesus. You also see the genuine reactions of him seeing his dead father and wishing he could talk to his dead father. I believe we're in the oneness of God. And I believe, kind of like what the Hindus say about the individual sparks of consciousness that we are within the one God. We are the Sit Sat Ki. And so when I look at this, you know, when you alter your awareness in the physical world, you go to an awareness that is bigger, that's greater. Now, in saying that, I will say that for this young man to see Jesus, he had to have a belief in Jesus. And as the video goes on, you see more and more his parents' Christian teachings coming out of his mouth. And I'll give you an example. First thing he says is, I'm a bad kid, right? So obviously somewhere along the lines, his parents were mad at him, told him he was a bad kid, and told him he caused trouble. Because these are the words he was using. I'm a bad kid, I cause trouble. Kids don't think that way. They don't think they're bad. They just go do things. They're told they're bad. You know, I cause trouble. That is an adult telling him you're a troublemaker, right? And so the kid believes that. And in this altered state, he's crying because his Christian beliefs say that if he isn't better, he's going to end up in hell, right? So he's afraid because he's a bad kid. He's in this state, and he's like, he's managing his beliefs in the moment, and that's the first thing we hear. And then all of a sudden, you see his eyes. Jesus, he said, and hi Jesus is what he says. Hi Jesus, and he has this moment of just, and he says, "You're so beautiful," right? Well, Jesus is the representation of love, right? It's the representation of God. And of course, Yeshua is beautiful, but God is beautiful, and oneness of God is beautiful. Everything is beautiful, right? And he says, I miss you. I want you to come back. Well, that's the belief in the second coming, which is a uniquely Christian ideology that does not really pertain to any other thing, except for Islam does say he is going to return, because they follow the doctrines of that ideology. But they don't think of it as him being a Messiah. They think of him as being the prophet before Muhammad. So this child is sitting there going, he thinks he's a bad kid. He's saying he's a troublemaker. These are all things he had to have been told because he didn't come into the world with those beliefs. Yeah, he wasn't born into that belief. He was told that belief. At one point, he uses the term, I need to study more scripture. Well, who said? That was absolutely 100% a religious doctrine that you need to read these scriptures, right? And so that was the idea of the parents coming along. And I, like I said, I think it's beautiful. I think this whole thing's beautiful because it really shows that there is something greater. There is something more broad in the awareness, and that it is beautiful. He keeps saying it's beautiful. You're so beautiful. And they ask for a hug. Why would the child need to ask for a hug? Because he felt like he needed to feel that love. And he was a bad kid, and he had this whole expression of this. He also asked for hot chicken during the thing, too. So that's another thing. At one point, the mother asks the nurse, is this normal? And the nurse says, yes. But altered states of awareness, people say the craziest things. If you watch any of the YouTube videos on people who literally are coming out of the dentist and they're in this state, and oftentimes wives won't recognize their husbands, or their husbands will tell their say lewd statements to their wife, not knowing it's their wife, and so it's very interesting. You find those on YouTube all over the place, But this child is a beautiful child. He's a kid. He's having but he has very distinct Christian ideologies that come from his parents, that come from his parents. This idea of needing to read scripture. The only people who believe that you need to read scriptures are people in specific religious ideologies. The Jews say that read the Torah. The Christians say read the Bible. The Muslims say read the Quran, right? They have these are divinely inspired scriptures, right? And now each one of them says the next one is not divinely inspired. So when this child says, I need to read scriptures, it's because he thinks he's a bad kid, and he thinks reading the scriptures will save him. That Jesus is going to come and save him. But how many kids do you know that will, that have come into the world thinking, I need to read scripture? No, that's a given ideology by his parents. So what you're seeing in this video, which, as I said, it's a beautiful video, because this kid's seeing something greater. He's just interpreting it through the lens of Christianity. Had this kid been a Muslim, he would have interpreted it through the lens of Islam. Had he been a Jew, he would have done it through the Torah. Had he been any other faith, Buddhism, Hinduism, any of them, that interpretation would have come through the belief system that he had been given while here. Because when you arrive here, you have no beliefs. You are given beliefs, and you deal with beliefs in this life. And when you cross through into the greater awareness, you experience those beliefs and you transition through them. And what this kid is, he's in a drug-induced state that's not fully crossed over. He's in just a drug-induced state where he's still processing from the physical world, but he's processing from the ideologies given to him. And go back to what he first said, I'm a bad kid. That's the first thing he said. I'm a bad kid. And that idea that he's a bad kid makes him fear, because he knows bad kids go to hell, and he needs to read more scripture. So it's a beautiful experience when you look at it from the perspective of this child talks about missing his father. I miss you, Dad. Don't leave us again. Right. His father died. And that's very sad. It's very much in there. And he says, Mommy misses you. Mommy misses you. Well, obviously, his mom has been grieving for her husband. I miss him. I miss him too. Those sort of belief systems. I don't know how his father died, but his son's saying, Mom is so strong. Well, that's a heady concept for a child, to say that someone is strong. But for a child, that usually means they can lift a lot. This concept that they're strong internally is definitely an adult concept. So he's literally espousing adult concepts that he's been given and believes, but he's having a beautiful experience with this beautiful nature of God. Jesus, you're so beautiful. Dad, you're so beautiful. I miss you. Well, that the other side is pure love. Of course, you miss that feeling that Jeshua represents and your father represents, and so he's framing it from the belief systems that he has in the physical. And those belief systems he has in the physical were given to him by his parents. And so he can only frame it from the lens which he's been given. And so I love this video because it is beautiful. Watch it. My sister watched it and she cried. Sorry, Patty, I outed you, right? But it really is a validation of everything I believe. And it kind of shows that what we think we become, we do create our world, and thought by thought we forge our destiny. And as a man thinketh, so is he. And there's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. And those thoughts are all given beliefs and choices. And so that's my thought on this video. I think I suggest everyone go watch it. It's beautiful. But remember, as you watch it, it's coming from a Christian kid who has Christian parents who told him to believe Christianity. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya.